today. Welcome to If These Walls Could Talk. I am your host with the most, Wendy Stuart, and I am missing my other half, Tym Moss, who is out and about today. Tym Moss will be coming back. He's just had a lot of work lately, which is great. We love hearing that all of our friends are working. So I hope everybody's having a gorgeous, blustery Wednesday. Quite frankly, for me, it's a tad too cold. I am a summer girl, but you know what? I will cope because coping is what I do best. So this past Saturday was most amazing. We had a show for the Imperial Court of New York called Flip the Script. The coolest thing about it was, first of all, thank you to all the performers that came and donated their time, and the most amazing audience. The energy in that room, which was at Slate Bar, and thank you, shout out to Slate, was just so incredible. And the Imperial Court produces these wonderful shows. What was so unique about this one was none of the court people were performing. Everybody in this show were friends of the Imperial Court or friends of friends or someone that heard about it. We had close to 20 performers. That's a lot of performers. So yeah, it was an absolutely fabulous, fabulous show, and prizes. We had whoever got the most votes, which had to do with how many tips were in the bag that came out when they were performing. Whoever had the most tips won the prize. You know what? I never found out who won. Oh my God. I was one of the MCs along with the fabulous Stacey McCoskey. We had a great time doing it. But now that I'm sitting here thinking, I don't even know who won. Well, you know how that goes. Anyway, great to be here today. I have a really fabulous guest, and I need to get him here any minute now. Where are you? Can somebody please get my guest from the back room? Thank you. You know, we have all kinds of things happen on this show, and you just never know what's going to happen to somebody from somewhere. But I'll tell you a little bit about my guest today. He's a keyboardist extraordinaire. He is so well known for playing with Kiss, for playing with Sting, for Piece de Resistance, Cherry Vanilla, whose birthday it is today, by the way, and we'll talk about that later. And everybody knows him. I couldn't believe it. When I was telling people he was coming on the show, they're like, oh my God, he's so fantastic. Many people saw him last year in Penny Arcade Show. He was the keyboardist there. And he's just a great guy. As a matter of fact, one of my dear friends, Dan Vetta, who watches his show and is a fabulous makeup artist, Dan said that was his first roommate in New York. So I'd like to welcome Zecca. Are you coming? Can someone get the guest for me, please? Okay, my guest is here. I was so excited that he's here. And I need my guest. Okay, darling, you missed your cue. Oh, no. It's all right. It's all right. He's here. We got him, which is all that matters. See, and he even came early. These are the things that happen when you live stream. You know what? We fly by the seat of our pants. So put your hands together for the one and only Zecca Esquibel. Come on in. Well, aren't you just like dressed for success here today? My God, that's gorgeous.
I was going shopping and I didn't have time to go home and
this is just beautiful. May I ask where you got it?
Thrift shop.
Me too. That's can you share with our audience which one?
I will do so only because I'm so small. I wear extra small.
You're an extra small. Okay.
Yeah. So people, there's all sorts of stuff left on the rack because there's not a lot of people who.
No, there are no small people, no small men in New York anymore. So many men, so little time, and none of them are small.
Life is tough,
except for you. So, what thrift shop was it?
It's actually about 2 blocks.
First Avenue.
I'm trying to see the monitor.
Yeah, no, you're fine. You're right in the monitor. You're good.
I would tell you if you were another block or two north of here.
Okay.
On 2nd Avenue and 12th, something like that. But it's really
on
fabulous.
First Avenue, isn't it? It's 2nd?
Right here on 2nd Avenue.
Oh, so it's the one a couple of storefronts stay
Yes,
on.
and it's quite large inside.
Okay, so
but it's fantastic for crazy clothes.
I shop there all the time. I've gotten so many pieces there, and the prices are like $15. And What did you pay for the jacket, Zecca?
Oh, come on, that's professional.
Okay. I love giving shopping tips.
2,000.
Stop. I love giving shopping tips on you. Yeah, they're right next to where we are. We're here at Pangea,
really like the
broadcasting
next
live.
block.
So, you know where to go. I don't know, like, what are you doing for Halloween? Like, what's your costume going to be?
I go as somebody normal.
No one will know it's you, though.
No, they should be completely confused.
It's the best costume ever, Zecca, showing up normal. You are absolutely too funny. So, you know, I had the pleasure of meeting you here at Pangea.
Yes.
What was happening that night? You know, there's a lot of cocktails between that night and now. And what event were we at?
I think it was Penny's birthday.
Penny Arcade, yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't a year, because I wrote down that when I met you.
Was this past summer?
Yes. Past summer. What was the event? Penny's birthday.
Penny's birthday.
Okay, good. Losing my mind. It was, aren't we all? And we started talking, and I didn't realize that I had seen him in Penny's show in April.
Yeah.
You're the keyboardist for her show. She's got another one she's working on coming up.
It's part of a 9-part. I think it's 9-part biography.
It's her book.
So there's 9. Yeah, essentially it's her book.
It's her book.
There's 9 separate shows, and she decided to start with the one that would be some of the wildest stuff, which is her youth,
right?
Her teens,
her wild misspent youth,
in the early 70s.
Right.
So she was here. She was part of Max's Kansas City and the whole downstairs Warhol scene. And I came in 5-6 years later.
What year are we talking? I love giving timelines.
I'm trying to remember Penny's show, so I don't remember. Well, it's the era of Warhol and Candy Darling.
Right. So that would have been like the 70s.
Very late 60s.
Late 60s into the early 70s.
Because Peter Crowley, I have to name drop, was a genius behind the rock and roll. Max's Kansas City, but that was upstairs in the performance space and began around 75, 76.
So you were downstairs.
No, she was
downstairs and I was upstairs. And you were upstairs. Did you guys know each other then?
No.
I love it. These stories are great.
One of the first things I said to her when she called me up and said, I'd like you to do this show was, Penny, do you realize how long we've been playing Ships in the Night? It's ridiculous. We have been within feet of each other for 3 decades.
So wait a minute. This is like, and I have this whole theory about pieces on a chessboard. So when I saw you doing her show in April, which is called
The Art of Becoming.
Right. That was that one.
Episode 3.
Right. And I've seen so many of her shows, but when I saw that show, you guys had just reconnected, like, prior to that, a few months prior?
I met Penny at John Vaccaro's loft at a reading. I have to preface that with John never talked about anybody as much as he talked about Penny.
I love it. Amazing.
She really thought of her as his protege.
But that would have been what, the 80s or something?
Way back in the early 70s.
Again, we're back in the early 70s. I think the enigma here to me is I've connected with all these people that came to New York in the late 70s like I did. I did not know any of them. I've met so many of them down here, and they were like, well, where were you? Well, I was in a totally different scene. Obviously, you and Penny were 6 degrees of separation, but didn't know each other.
We both worked with John Vaccaro at different times.
I love it. It's like, and at different times. And then here we go. You end up doing her show this April, and now you'll be in the next show, which we're all really looking forward to.
That's up to Penny.
Right. But you know,
I would love to be.
The thing about you that I have to say, besides being New York cred, what I call New York cred and New York music history, when I told so many different people that I didn't know you cross-pollinated with, that you were coming on the show, and we just lost a light. It's fine. Just leave it on the floor. We still look good.
I was just hoping we didn't bring a mirror.
No, I know. But when I told people that, like my friend Dan Vetta was like, that was my first roommate. I know, but what are the chances of that happening, that you're the first roommate in New York? What year was that? Again?
Late 80s or early 90s.
Great. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You've been crisscrossing paths with so many people.
Yeah, that's
So
what I joke about ships in the night.
Yeah,
because
because you're passing ships in the
New
night.
York City is a city of small villages.
Right.
And some of them butt, and some of them do a fuck. And some, can I say that on your show?
Yes, you can say the F word. People come on here and they do say the F word. It happens. We're a clean show.
Yeah,
though.
thank you.
But yeah, you're right. It's like,
yeah,
so,
there's 8.5 million people out there.
There are, but I think I call it attrition. This is what happens as you transcend decades. God bless us all that have, and we take this amazing history with us. There's less and less of us, which is why the telling of this history is so important.
Yeah.
Things like the Lower East Side biography project.
Yes.
Okay. That's why that's so important, because we all know history can really get watered down. It can be changed. I ran into people that were like, oh yeah, I was at CBGB's. I was here. I was there. It's like, that's freaking impossible because you weren't even born yet. All right. But oops. Right. But we all run into them and they start, you heard of name dropping. I call them club dropping.
Yes,
you weren't even at that club because you weren't on the earth then.
And the funny thing
happen?
is, Max's, everybody talks about Max's Kansas City like it was capacity 80.
Right. You would think it was 800.
Tiny.
Right. It was a tiny hole.
And at least 70% of the audience was musicians and their current, whoever they're boffing,
Yeah, right. Time. Yeah, they're groupies.
So, so within this, of course, Peter stretched that capacity
of course
a lot. But within that small chamber, we saw each other across the room, but there were plenty of people we never met.
Right.
You never knew.
You would have never actually yet. Now, were you there when the New York Dolls played there?
Just after.
Okay, so that was my connection to Max's Kansas City, because growing up I was going to college in the Bronx, and there was a really cool guy named Hank Frank with white shoes with pointy toes, and he didn't look like anybody else at Lehman College, and we became friends. And I remember he would put makeup on, and he would go to Max's Kansas City, and to me that was like the most exotic thing in the world, that I knew somebody like that, and he would talk about the New York Dolls, and he knew that, and it was just. Right, but we've all crisscrossed, and here we all are, and we've met so many of these people. The Cockettes were just in New York, I'm sure.
I saw that in the news. I was very curious to who's still there from the original Cockettes.
I think there's...
Is it a whole new reconstituted
No,
company?
It's not completely reconstituted. I know when they just did the show at Joe's Pub, one was the original, but then there's ones that came along the past couple of years. And I know this because the amazing musician Maria Connor, who's on my other show tonight, TriVersity Talk, Maria worked with them in San Francisco. So she was helping them out. I know. It's like, you know what? Let me just tell you something. New York, we all talk about, it's changed, it's this, it's that. If you're in the music world, if you're in the entertainment world, man, we all stick together. It is really, we support each other, and our lives are all richer because of it. It's really quite incredible what we have here. So, Zecca, you're of Brazilian descent?
No, I was born there. I'm actually an immigrant. Yeah.
Wow.
But I grew up.
No, thank you for saying I'm actually an immigrant. Yes. People are, forgetting that, right?
Yeah, we contribute to America.
Thank you. Like the guys that have the little food truck on the corner. I get a wonderful breakfast for $5. All the people that are working in construction in my neighborhood that cannot afford to buy any kind of lunch in my neighborhood can go to that cart.
Or the rent.
Or the rents. Well, we have rent stabilized people, but that's a whole other thing. But, we came out of a different New York. So God bless all the immigrants that have come here. Well, and, your parents were from?
I am third generation born in Brazil.
Third generation.
My great grandfather was Basque. So
the Basque country.
Yeah. So he basically, this is passed down story. I don't know if I looked it up, I would find a different story.
Right.
But the story that was passed down to me was that he was in the Marinha.
Tell me what that is.
Which is one service that includes both the Marines and the Navy.
Marinha. I can't get that role.
Nobody can pronounce Portuguese except us. But so he went AWOL, and in Argentina and disappeared into Brazil.
Oh my
And
God.
that's how we became Brazilians.
So we had a rebel.
Yeah.
He was a rebel.
And all of us, but since him, my grandfather was one of the guys who laid telegraph in the Amazon.
Are you kidding? Oh my God. I'm one of the few people who've been to the Amazon 5 times, of course.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Did you pass through the state of Rondônia?
I don't remember going through there.
Probably.
All I know was 5 hours upriver, 5 hours downriver, because every project that I went to work on was to make a short little film about the amazing indigenous people there, or the
which I may be part of, but I've never had the DNA test.
Oh, you have to. Now that you got me going on indigenous, we just had indigenous people.
Well, Basques are native Europeans.
Right.
We're one of the oldest surviving races. I hate to use the word race. It doesn't sound.
I know, but we know tribe. Yeah. You have to do then.
The Romans were so annoyed at us that we were one of the 2 countries that the Romans allowed to keep our own language, keep our own government, and keep our own laws, because we were so annoying.
Well, you were annoying, and at the end of the day, you danced to your own drum, or in your case, play to your own keyboard.
Do you ever watch Rick Steves?
No.
Oh, okay.
But you have to tell me what, if it's relates to, tell me what
tour
it is.
guide. He has a regular show on PBS. It was the only people that he ever said anything negative about were the Basques.
I love that. That's a great.
They're hard-headed.
Would you describe yourself as hard-headed? Would you really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a pain.
You're a pain in the rump. I know my show opened up and you were comes here. I had 20. No, got here at 25 after 1. No one ever does that except for my dear friend Lori Tower, who will come the day before because she's so punctual. I love Lori, and I know she tuned in right now, right? But always on time, right? He's here at 25 after 1. I'm like, just hang out. You got all kinds of time. The show starts, and I'm like, Zecca, where are you? I was yelling your name. But no, it was dramatic. It was like maybe like somebody kidnapped you, or I thought something happened to you.
Oh, wow.
Well, because
I met a nice waiter.
You met a nice waiter, right? You got lucky here today at Pangea. Some people get lucky here. So
stop it! You're making me hot.
I know, right? Oh, there he goes. He's schwitzing already. So when you get back here, I want to find out, where did you grow up?
Well.
What was your growing up like?
Well, I haven't. I mean, I postponed.
Right. That's right. Well, we all, we have a whole posse of friends that are like that.
Yeah.
You can move a little closer. We'll get you a little more center.
There we
go. Yeah.
When you're like 3 or 4 years old and you have that first sense of consciousness of place. This is my place.
Yeah.
That's the neighbors. This is my neighborhood. Oh, neighborhood.
Right. This is where I belong.
Like Cookie Mueller, it was the grounds of the State Mental Institution outside of Baltimore. I thought everybody's dad went to work in a white coat because I'd never seen a suit.
Okay, that's freaking great. And
Cookie said that.
Right.
That she lived in a big house. And
was that the old section of Baltimore? I know a little about it.
Actually, it's called Catonsville.
Catonsville, okay.
Yeah, it's sort of in a line between right outside of Baltimore on the way to Washington.
Okay. And everyone worked at the state institution.
It's called Spring Grove.
I'm so sure it was Spring Grove, and so they dealt with mental illness there. Was it?
Yeah, my dad was always a psychiatrist for really serious people. He wasn't for little rich kids who need to talk to somebody.
So your dad, was a psychiatrist.
Yeah, MD.
Boy, huh? What was
Not
that?
Psychologist.
I know that, and in my head, that's a lot of school.
He met his second wife in a padded cell.
Are you kidding me?
She was holding down a patient, and one side of her, they had 4 people, arms and legs on the patient. One side of the patient was
right,
and then on the other side of the patient, whenever the patient looked at Marcia, he would go,
"Oh my God!"
And my dad said, "Cool, I want to know her."
That's really funny. That was like a match made.
Yeah,
I was going to say in heaven, but it was really made in a padded cell.
Yeah.
So Marcia was his second wife. Was that your mom or your stepmom?
No, my mom was the sister of the woman who's basically thought of as the Ed Sullivan of Brazil.
Okay, you have to tell us. I don't know.
The Ed Sullivan Show?
I know. Of course, Hello.
Yeah.
Of course I know that, but Ed Sullivan of Brazil was who?
Her stage name was Leah Mello.
Wow.
And she in fact is also included in the history of television in Brazil.
Wow, that's
She's
totally
cool.
wild.
But I never really knew her except to say, when we visited.
Right.
So when we moved to the United States and to Spring Grove.
Right. So you and your dad moved here.
And my mother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I have a photo somewhere on Facebook. You'll find it on Facebook of us on the boat, and she's holding me the way.
I just saw it. You just put it up.
Yeah,
I did. I comment. Yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious because I'm actually, since I'm being held by her, I'm facing backwards, but I've turned all the way around to look at the camera.
Even then, he knew.
2 years old.
At 2 years, so you came here at 2 years old.
Yeah, right. So I basically grew up like the son of an immigrants, rather than as an immigrant myself.
Right.
Because from the time I was 2, I was speaking English. I went to American schools.
Your childhood was definitely an American childhood.
Yeah.
You didn't have to worry about coming here at like 8 years old and trying to learn the language and
a change of cultures.
Right. No, you're right. It's a total change of culture.
Very rough for kids.
So when did you find this aptitude for keyboards?
We were very lucky. My father was a whiz, and when he was offered you would call it a townhouse.
Okay.
Attached, semi-attached.
Yeah. So it is a townhouse.
It was furnished, and there was this piano, and I was already showing. I had terrible ADHD. I was the kid that ran around the restaurant, and everybody would look at my parents and go,
I totally got it. I knew you were going to be MIA when the show started. You were here 35 minutes before because we had talked about ADHD.
Yeah.
And I shared with Zecca, my daughter pointed out to me that all of my friends either have ADHD or ADD. Yeah. And that's the God's honest truth. So you were the kid that ran around the restaurant.
Yeah.
You had that energy.
And couldn't stop talking.
Right. You couldn't stop talking.
And my dad, this is a shrink, psychiatrist, sorry, Dad, said if they had Ritalin, you would have been on it at age 2.
That was going to be my question, because we medicate all.
Yeah, it didn't
like
exist.
In my daughter's school, they, the kids that had.
Did he really?
Oh my God, that's like, are you kidding? She was in public school, but then ended up going to private. And in private school, classes are small, but you have to be controllable. Mm-hmm. So you go to the she never had to take it, but a number of her friends. Because, it interfered with them learning and being perfect little students. When I grew up in school, I grew up with a ton of kids in public school in New York that had, of course, ADD, ADHD. Mm-hmm. The teachers just dealt with it. Right.
I was the kid who was always going.
Yeah, you had that. Right.
Me. Right. I got the answer.
And she was like, Zecca, you just answered the last 4 questions. Give someone else a turn. That's what they said to you. I know that you were that kid. Right.
So where were we going with this? The ADHD.
So I'll keep you on the path. I'm very good at that. We'll go down the rabbit hole together too. We did last week with the guests too. I like going down the rabbit hole. But I don't have ADHD, and I think I have left brain, right brain now. I'm really sure about that. Wow. So I can go down the rabbit hole and bring you back up.
Thanks.
Yes.
Because I have gotten to the point where I say to my friends, look, if I'm drifting and I don't remember what the question is,
they have to pick it up.
Do not be embarrassed to interrupt me and help me.
And
because I could use the help.
Yeah, no. So I was asking
you all heard that, right?
How you became a keyboardist.
So we rented this house, and there was a piano.
Piano, like an upright. It was
upright.
That's
and
what
my
I'm
mom
saying.
had wanted to be a singer like her sister, and became a stage mom. So at the age of 6, I played an audition at Peabody Preparatory, which is in Baltimore.
Right.
Peabody Conservatory.
I connected the name, to Peabody in New England.
And by the time I was 7, I was sitting on stage in a piano in a 400-seat theater making music.
Okay, so we have to stop right here because this says you were genius. I mean, whether you want to admit it or not. No, I know, but we can't but the lesson here, right? Brilliant. Entertaining 400 people at Peabody at 7 years old. And case in point, clearly had ADHD, not medicated. And this has always been my theory.
Yeah.
If you take, I've had parents talk to me growing up, their kids, they don't know what to do with them. They're on Ritalin, they're this, they're that. I'm like, you need to get them into acting. You need to see if they're musical.
It works two ways. She teaches the child to focus all that energy down into one particular subject. If it's a third of a page of Mozart, I spent 5 hours on a third of a page of Mozart once. I don't know how my mother survived, but that was for a competition. Anyway, I digress.
I love knowing that about you.
It does that.
It focuses you.
It focuses the child. And the other thing is that if the child, you need to use something that the child has an aptitude for.
Right.
You're developing that aptitude at a very early age.
Oh, I completely agree.
Like a dancer.
Right.
A ballet dancer will be in school already at 7,
Right. But nobody was drugging you so that you would calm down in class.
That's what I said to my father when he said, you would have been on Ritalin at the age of 2. And I said, but Dad,
I wonder if you would have been
wouldn't
the musical.
be this person.
Right.
And he didn't seem to be too upset about that idea.
No, you had good parents. It's really great because the past 7 years old and playing to audiences already. And in school, even though you were one with a first hand up, I would imagine it brought you notoriety while you were in school.
Well, I was lucky that I was, when I got to high school, in junior high, no. I'm just trying to be accurate. High school, I went to a brain school, so we sucked in sports. We were so horrible; it was embarrassing.
It was for gifted kids. The school you went to academically.
Well, it was more
smart.
It was smart kids.
Yeah, smart kids.
And we had some experimental teaching programs too, but we shone in theater.
Wow.
So
that was your sweet spot, honey.
That was it. All of a sudden, I'm on stage and I'm learning about eyeliner and learning how to be other people.
Although he confessed today he didn't do such a good job of it, but we won't talk about that. But back then, you were really proficient with your eyeliner, and you were in a creative. What a supportive. That's what I find talking. Because there are some kids that lose their path, and usually they're being made to fit in a school that they're not any good at. The ones that are not only survivors but that are the cream that rise to the top, which is yourself, you were supported, your parents, and then you ended up in the right school with other kids like you, so it's kind of like a straight path for your talent.
Well, I had a lover for about 4 years who also had the level of ADHD
that you had. That had to be a really fun relationship.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
They could finish each other's sentences.
The neighbors were like, bang, no. But he went to a Catholic school, and they said, this is a problem child.
He's a problem.
With all that brain power, and he's really intelligent, they stuck him in a tech school. So when I was on stage in high school, he was repairing lawnmowers.
Right.
And it breaks my heart.
It breaks my heart,
think about it, because they forced him, unable to understand him, they forced him to waste all that energy.
Right.
And I thought that was just a horrible thing.
But the point is, and this is what I love about this show and telling these stories, because this is still going on. And if the kid has the right support, right now we're into child raising. Who would have thought I would end up there with you?
Not me.
But fact of the matter is, Zecca gave us a great example of someone that did not have the support. Maybe the parents weren't so aware at home, and they put him in They didn't, and they put him in Catholic school, and then wondered why. I'm sorry,
he didn't make it there.
He didn't make it. He couldn't make it there. But you, so you get out of high school, and then what happens next to you?
Now I'm going to do a song and dance, because this is very important to me.
Yes.
I was 17. Well, I was even before I was 17. I realized my hands would never grow big enough. I was winning every competition I was in, but the scale of the difficulty was getting worse and worse. And we got to the Chopins and the
I never thought about this. It's got to do with the length of your fingers. See, I would
they're too small. Oh, they look good. And here we go. They look good now.
Yeah, show them the other side. Show them the other side how pretty they are. You have pretty hands.
Thank
But
you.
that never occurred to me
L'Oreal.
that it's got, and you're worth it. But it never occurred to me that of course, that makes total sense because
Yeah.
you got to stretch to, you know.
In fact, I was talking to my neurologist and saying what I just said to you, and he's like 6'4" and massive.
Oh, yeah, I probably has.
And he looked at me like I was a talking avocado and said, well, some of us grow up and we can't palm the ball.
Wow.
So it's not just musicians.
No.
Ballet dancers particularly go through this when they're about 14 or 15. They realize they're not going to have the body they need.
Right. Well, that I've heard of, or their breasts get too big.
Yes, it's very common.
Right.
And they've devoted, their whole childhood to being
it's
dancers.
luck of the draw in a lot of ways.
So,
but it didn't stop you from being
what
you're doing.
I was very lucky in several ways. This was the summer of 1969. I graduated high school. 2 weeks later, Stonewall.
Oh my gosh.
6 weeks after that, Woodstock. I wasn't here for Stonewall, but I was there for Woodstock.
God damn it, going to be there for Woodstock.
17 years old, tripping my brains out.
I can't believe you were at Woodstock. I knew people
I just did the interview for the museum.
I know them. I go up there. I love that. I love the Woodstock
I'm in their
Museum.
now.
Wow. And Mindy Franken, if you tuned in today, you know Mindy. She lives up there. Princess Wow. She knows who
I know
you
the
are.
name,
Yeah, of course.
but I don't know her.
She lives up, in
I want to go. I have not been back since.
Oh my God, the museum is
That's what I heard.
Oh,
it's really
so
good.
Great in Bethel Woods, which is where
that's the name of the museum.
Yeah, they have wonderful performers there that we would all know
summer,
of. Yeah,
right?
in the summer. Yeah, it's
one
great.
of those open places with like a rooftop but no walls.
Yeah, and it's just a beautiful property. But it is not really close. Well, it is close enough, but it's not where Woodstock happened.
Really?
Woodstock was like, I think, 7 miles away from where they built the whole center.
No, it's not in the concert area.
It's not. No, and you can Google it. Maybe it's 3 to 4 miles, but I know.
Wow.
Right. But it's fabulous anyway, But you were at Woodstock, Zecca.
Yeah.
I mean,
and what
who gets
happened
to go
was,
to Woodstock?
Like what I was trying to say is that the reason why it was so important, coming very quickly after Stonewall, here was 450,000 people who were outcasts. We were thought of as traitors because we were against the war in Vietnam.
Right.
People hated us. You've seen Easy Rider.
Yeah,
They get shot at the end.
God, I remember. Yeah.
People hated
Boy, are
us.
you bringing up a time.
And we looked around, and here was nearly 500,000 of us who have the same beliefs.
I never. Okay.
And we reinforced each other. That's my point.
I love you because I'll tell you why. I knew people that went to Woodstock. I thought it was so cool. I have the music from Woodstock. Right. I know everything about Woodstock, but I never thought of it as 500,000 people that all had something
underdogs.
I never thought of it that way. Yeah. To me, this was like the coolest, most successful thing that you could do. But
most
you're
people
right.
Think of it as a concert.
Right. It was this incredible concert,
it was an experience.
and people experimenting and the music. Oh my God, the music that came out of Woodstock.
When Santana did that afternoon,
that
was one of the most amazing things.
Yeah,
because a couple of us had heard about Santana's subbing with Al Cooper on the big tour that's on the 2-record set. But most people had no idea he was going to walk on and do this. I forget the name, but fusion of Mexican.
Right, the song is now playing in my head, and I can't remember the name of it.
And
right,
that's an hour show.
Yeah.
And we just screamed our butts off.
It was amazing,
and that was one of the word eye opener. We did not know this reality existed. We did not know there were 450,000 of us who thought the same way and felt the same way. And no crime because we thought the same way.
But you're using the power of we. Okay. It's what happens with the we, is all of a similar ilk and belief system in how to live their best life.
Yes.
Very important.
Yes, very much.
We have not had anything like that since.
Well,
it hasn't been, they've tried their attempts, but there hasn't been anything like Woodstock.
No, because it was just a time, it was that time.
It was
we were emerging.
Right.
You know, and to get to the end of my sentence is that no, I didn't mean
we're getting there.
I didn't mean
no,
that
we're
as a
getting there.
dig.
Jump on board the ADHD bus. We're getting to the end of the sentence. Yes.
Which is that it gave me the courage to trust my own beliefs, to trust my own guts, and do what I felt I needed to do in here,
Right.
which was leave home.
Right.
So at 18, following summer,
Jesus.
I left home
Right.
and plunged into the gay scene in Georgetown in Washington, D.C.
Okay. So now we're at like the late 70s?
70.
1970.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're at 1970, which was the beginning. I mean, Zecca took us through Woodstock. Now we're in the early 70s.
Some of my friends complained.
And this is a perfect time for me to play the clip that we have here today. Now, this is from the group that you were with called.
Is this Get Wet?
Yes.
Yeah, it was called Get Wet. I fell in love with this lady when she auditioned as a backup singer for a ghastly band. Oh my gosh, it was embarrassing.
I know,
so
but
bad.
look what came of it.
But we looked at each other and went, wow. So we became lovers, and she wanted to be a lead singer in a band.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I had been on tour with Cherry Vanilla for I forget, a year and a half, 2 years in Europe, and we were playing to 10,000 people. You know, the band was a success, but it's a long story. I'll let Cherry tell it someday. But we had never played together on American soil.
Yeah.
So when I got this opportunity to create something for Sherry Beachfront,
Right.
this was a chance for me to bring that whole Cherry Vanilla band back to New York,
right,
and show the world what we could do for the first
wow.
time. So it was a great moment for me.
Incredible
and the boys.
moment.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now we're going to play the video,
Yeah.
which is from 1980?
1980.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought it said. At 1980. Remember what you were doing.
Are you ready for Sherry Beachfront? Well, here we are. Get Wet.
Not seem to find the truth, and I care too much to lie. get wet.
Wow. Wow. And the
Oh,
name
well.
of the song, Lucky You.
Yeah.
And you wrote it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I wrote all of Get Wet. I wrote about my relationship with Sherry.
Wow.
And then I just changed the gender around so that she could sing it.
Perfect.
You know, and that, so she already knew the intensity because it's our relationship. So she understood
And
those lyrics.
She's
perfectly.
Sherry. What's her?
She uses Sherry Lewis now.
Okay, but what was it before
We call
Sherry?
it Sherry Beachfront.
I just love that. As in beachfront property.
Yes, we were
Oh
in the
my God.
Pines.
You're in the Pines. I love
All right,
the Pines.
here's
All
the
right.
whole story.
Okay, we need the whole story.
We were in the Pines, and she decided that she didn't feel like wearing the top of her bathing suit. So
Nobody wears the top of their bathing suit in the Pines.
No.
Or Cherry
or the
Grove.
bottom.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Whatever
at least they
whatever goes.
didn't used to. So she got sunburned right on her.
Yeah.
And she couldn't put anything on. So I said, well, that's it. We were in front of the beachfront homes. She was burnt
Sherry
at the beach.
Sherry Beachfront.
So it's Sherry Beachfront.
I totally
That was
love it.
a family joke.
So we have opera here today too. So you have the band playing that's Cherry Vanilla in this, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that was, I don't know if we've already talked about this.
We did, but I
Yeah.
just want to, because
Yeah, those are the same four guys that were Cherry Vanilla once Sting and Stuart Copeland left.
so let's not
origi-
name drop here. Sting and Stuart Copeland.
No.
And there was one more person that
That's Louis Lepore.
Louis Lepore.
Yeah.
So Sting and Stuart Copeland. My God, Zecca.
They were fun because the
How many
police.
people can say that they had fun with Sting and Stuart Copeland?
Well,
Okay.
you know, if it doesn't make you happy, you shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
But, Miles Copeland, Stuart's brother, had seen us here in New York. And he said, look, there's something happening in London. You have to be part of it. I can get you touring around the country so that you can pay your bills, which we didn't stop to think that meant 7 nights a week, incling traveling.
You
every
just
day.
heard we can pay our bills
Yeah,
to a
well,
musician that
yeah,
is
'cause we
music to
couldn't
their
in New
ears.
York, you know.
Right.
So we kept racking up tab and maxes all the time. And then
Right.
when it came time to be paid, there was nothing left. But so we said, our bass player and drummer cannot afford the risk. They can't drop everything that they have in New York to go on this mad, safari
Right.
to London to be part of the punk scene. So Miles said, oh, that's no problem. My brother has a band called The Police. We immediately went, oh,
Come on, this is a
Police?
freaking
You
incredible.
must be kidding me. How are you going to promote that name? That's awful. And anyhow, guys, forgive me. So Henry Padovani was still on guitar. It wasn't Andy yet.
Right.
So they had a kind of a different, more punky sound.
Yeah.
And we did about 4 2-week tours out of London.
My brother has a
loops.
band. I'm going to call this, my brother has a band called The Police. Come on. Who could tell that
True.
story?
That
That's
is true.
amazing. And you had no
We had
idea.
no idea.
That's a terrible name.
So first rehearsal, we thought, well, they don't play like a Max's band, but let's go with it and see what they do. And of course, Sting had that wonderful voice.
Right.
So we did about 4 tours.
Amazing.
At that point, Miles, who was managing The Police, said, I think it's time for them to headline their own shows. So
And you said to yourself, but it's such a terrible name. Nobody's going to come see it.
At that point, I started learning to clam up a little
Yeah,
bit.
right. Keep your mouth shut.
But
right?
originally it was Heartbreakers with Johnny Thunders.
Right.
Was the headliner. Then Cherry Vanilla, then The Police. And that
They were third. The Police were third
yes.
on the bill. Wow.
They're called Support in England.
Wow.
It's not opening act in England. It's Support,
Right.
which is a whole different way of looking at it.
Yeah.
They're there to warm up.
Yeah,
the
they
audience.
are the warm up, right?
Yeah, they are-
and
get the audience ready for the.
as we
the
all know, the
bands.
rest is history.
Mhm.
Wow.
But they were lovely. They really were. I mean, they were very friendly. I mean, they were just really sweet. Sting had just had his first child,
Well,
and his wife was, I believe, in a soap opera. So he was just glowing all the time.
He was on cloud nine. And
Yeah,
I think what I love, you shared with me before that you're in their wiki biography.
Yes, I'm in they gave me a page which I thought was incredibly nice.
This is incredible, right?
And if you look up police wiki and then drop my name in there, name dropping again.
Name dropping.
Oh,
you're such a name dropper.
Bad habit.
Wow.
But there's a whole page on me with a lot of real bio, like a bio.
No, but that's such incredible respect, and I love
and
hearing
they were huge
that.
at that point,
right?
By the time they had the police wiki,
but you know what? They still did it.
Yeah, I was really kind of.
You played.
Verklempt.
You were verklempt when you saw that, and the book Broken Music.
Yes,
they mention you in that as
well.
well.
Yeah, including a wonderful little event where everybody in the bus had fallen asleep after a show. I don't remember, it was 3:30 in the morning in England, and Sting fell asleep and went off the road. And there was none.
Wait, he was driving?
He was driving, and there was not one of us was awake to keep him awake,
right?
Because we had all passed out. So it was really a blessing from above that
you're even here.
All we did was run off the road. We didn't hit anything. We just went into the bank.
What an incredible story. It shows you how close that you really can come. And you all have gone on the rest of the season. You went on to work with so many people. The fact to me that John Kelly's been on this show. I know John Kelly is just incredible, and many of you have seen John Kelly. John Kelly does a lot of things, incredible performance artist, but I had mostly seen him do Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
Now the two of you ended up working together.
But when did you see him do Joni?
I don't remember because there've been a lot of cocktails between then and now, to be perfectly honest. But it's a good thing I even remember that. And when I had him on the show, he actually did look familiar to me. So you know what? We take what little grains the universe gives us. The fact that I remembered, but you got to work with him, and you're
yes. I had seen him at Pyramid and was absolutely floored, and I just kind of kept hounding him. And do you know Marlene Menard?
I know the name.
She was the bartendress.
Right. I knew Hattie Hathaway at Pyramid,
yes.
of course, but not.
Well, Marlene was a real chanteuse. She could belt. Yeah, she could belt that kind of Piaf stuff, and just talked me into becoming an accompanist. I said, I don't know anything about accompanying. I'm a rock musician. I don't accompany, I groove.
I love that.
I rock. Right. I don't know about.
I'm cool. I rock. I don't accompany.
I don't know anything about a singer in that sense, because the singer in a rock band is in the groove.
Right. Right.
So that was wonderful because it gave me 2 years. It was just at that time that South Beach was exploding.
Your timing has been perfect with everything.
We could. No, I'm not talking about the ones I'm.
We won't talk about the faux pas, but you were at South Beach at the right time.
So we were there in the golden years, 93, 94, 95. And, when Prince had a club, well, he had the biggest club. And Mickey Rourke had a club. Gloria Estefan had a club. We played in Sean Penn's club all the time. And
what a charmed life, Zecca.
What?
It's a charmed life. It really is.
I worked my ass off.
No, I know you did, but it happened for you. I mean, we could sit here and talk about these people. You brought up Mickey Rourke. Jesus Christ, what happened to her? We've all, you're talking about encapsulated these times, is what I'm trying to say.
I was fortunate to be part of those times.
How incredible!
Whether it was Woodstock or Glam here in New York City.
Yeah, you hit it right.
I always, rather than saying that I have some gift or something different, I was just hyper. I was everywhere all the time.
I know, but you had the ability.
Knew when something was happening.
Right.
So
but you see what I'm just doing?
Yeah,
you could smell it, and your instincts brought you to it. Now,
that looks good. I haven't done that yet.
With John Kelly, You were Georgia O'Keeffe to his Joni Mitchell.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
so
hilarious to begin with. Tell me about this.
I think he saw some of the work I did with Marlene, and he had done Joni, I think, beginning with ending Wigstock.
Okay.
Doing Woodstock with
right.
the Wigstock lyrics.
Right.
So he called me and said, I want to do a full-length show, 2 acts at that point. And would you be interested? And I said, yeah, I've been trying to work for you with you because I saw you. You know, I thought this was one of the greatest talents that came out.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Pyramid,
yeah.
You know. So him and RuPaul.
Right.
And Delight. You
and
Delight.
Hello, music in the hall.
Yeah. That we were all.
There's always some dish coming up about Delight. What is it? There's always some gossip or whatever.
I don't know. I think it's probably not earned.
Right.
You know, it's probably it's being dishy for the hell of being dishy.
Right.
But it's not something that they deserve.
No, I totally agree. But there's you and John Kelly, and now you're joining forces.
Said, would you like to do it? It's a lot of work. I said, I've never heard Joni Mitchell's music except the stuff on the radio. I knew nothing about her. I was not a fan. I just never looked into, you know, I was punk. I wasn't a Joni Mitchell.
No, you wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Flows of Angel. Right. That wasn't you.
So I said, okay,
that was me.
I think I can learn how to do this. And I had a very good synth so I could mimic her sounds. And he said, and then when I calmed down, he said, I want you in drag. I said, what do you mean you want me in drag? I don't even know how to put on a dress. So I was putting it on over my head. John, how do you get into these things?
I'm having a problem.
You step into it. You don't pull it over you.
Right.
I mean, I didn't even know that. So he said, and
why Georgia O'Keeffe?
Apparently they were neighbors somewhere in New Mexico where
of course that would make sense.
Yeah,
okay, I figured that was the answer, but I wanted to hear it from you.
John told the story, but you know, in a sort of smoky way, so I never quite got the facts. But apparently Georgia was reluctant. You know, who's this pop star next door, you know? And Joni stood on the edge of the properties and just smoked a cigarette at night, and you know, it was glowing.
Okay, how cool was Joni Mitchell? She's just like,
I
never said a thing.
You're right, but I don't know how much this is embellishment, if it's really true.
I know, but come on, it's a great visual for all of us.
And it's so Joni.
And then, then you and John Kelly taking this to the stage.
There I am. I said, John, I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing with the music. I figured that out. I don't know what I'm doing with Georgia O'Keeffe at 85, you know, with the gray wig, and I would totter on and do all that. And John was just such a wonderful person to work with, because without saying so, he basically said, this is my concept. Show me what you can do.
I love it.
You know, that's what an artist wants to hear.
Right, exactly.
Know, especially a performing artist.
But he knew that
that's what Martha Graham was famous for saying.
Exactly.
Don't copy me, show me what you can do.
He wouldn't have said it unless he knew that you could do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I didn't think of that at the time. I just felt like, oh.
And it's interesting to me because when you first told me you did this little duet together, I was trying to wrap my head around Georgia O'Keeffe as a person and what I know about her, and transcending that to you. Like, I can see John as Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
There's so much Joni Mitchell. Well, with John Kelly, actually everything he does, he becomes. It starts really deep in here. But I was trying to imagine you as Georgia O'Keeffe.
Well, I didn't imagine her very well.
Oh, come on, you did.
What's her name? Cy O'Neill has an O'Neill's restaurant.
Right my God.
Lincoln Center.
Yeah.
Cy, we were at a party with Cy, and she said, oh, I met Georgia O'Keeffe. And I was like, tell me. And she said, well, when she came in the door, she walked into a party, and she stood there in the door. Everybody turned.
Right.
You know, every head in the room turned.
Right.
And she went, and you knew whether you could stay or not.
Wow.
Whether you'd be welcome to stay.
Right. That's power.
And I went, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Especially in drag.
So I know I'm jumping forward, backwards, and all around, but today happens to be Cherry Vanilla's birthday,
Yes.
and I have more I want to talk to you about, but I do want to pay homage to Cherry Vanilla. Can we do what
Light
our
the
little?
cake?
Yes, we're gonna we're lighting up. It's kind of a cake. What did you tell me it is?
Well,
The matches are over there, I think, right? Do we
uh,
have something to light it with? Cool. We're good. We're good
Whole
here.
Paycheck calls it a chocolate croissant.
Okay,
But actually, it's pain au chocolat.
we have
if you
pain
go to
au chocolat.
Right.
Pain au chocolat. Okay.
Which, that's what, if you go to Paris, that's what they'll call it.
Okay, we're
So
gonna
it's
sing happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cherry. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
Happy
Yay.
birthday, Cherry.
And bless you. Okay, you get to blow it out.
I'll let Cherry blow it out.
Okay. Okay, but you can't keep it burning there, Zecca. We'll have a fire. Thank you. Well, my God. So fast forward to April 2024.
Oh, wow. That was...
and there you are on stage at Joe's Pub.
Yeah, I as I mentioned, I had met Penny at John Vaccaro's loft at a reading of a possible script that he was considering doing, directing, because I had directed 3 shows, his last 3 shows in New York.
Wow.
I was music director. And here was this woman that he talked about so much that he just made him beam with pride, you know, he just loved her. And so finally the play was so bad that everybody, there's like
John
6
Vaccaro's play, right.
No, John didn't write this. It was written,
somebody else's.
I don't want to name the name.
No, don't we don't?
Famous,
we wouldn't do that here anyway.
But everybody around the table was like this.
Yeah, we've all been in bad plays, you know.
Nobody looked at each other. We were all
Right.
just looking at our scripts, and the silence at the end of the reading was damning. You know, everybody knew this is a stinker.
If you fast forward, you and Penny reconnect for her show at Joe's Pub, which is, you know,
I was just so excited when she called. I said, Penny Arcade?
Right. And that's everything coming full circle, which is really what it's about. I don't know where the time went, but here we are. And yes, darling. We have a couple of comments on here, and there'll be more on Wendy Stuart TV. Daniel wrote, "Hi, ex-religious bisexual man here. You are cool. Thank you for tuning in today." And Mr. Harv is our amazing designer friend, Suze, who does incredible costuming. Her costumes will be seen in 50 Shades of Gay, December 7th.
Oh, I just saw the ad for it.
Right, and I'm in the show, so please come and support me and of course, the other performers. The group in this show, we all perform together. That's what it's about, right? When you that's how you feel when you're with Penny. It's great when you get to be with your family. That's one of the perks in this insane industry. What else is coming up for you?
Well, I have spent 2 years writing the first act of a show. It's music. We just talked before we talked about, is Hamilton an opera or is Hamilton a Broadway show? Right. Well, they're drifting together because there's so much singing and so little talking. Right. That the kind of it's what do they call it? Blurring the line. Yeah, the lines are blurring, or they blend. So I had seen this Baroque ensemble, traditional Baroque instruments, and I thought of Mary Queen of Scots, and I thought about what I wanted to say about particularly the young gay men who were brutally executed, tortured for 4 hours to please the crowd. And in fact, one of them, at one point, guards had to be called in to keep the mob from killing the executioner. It was and these were so horrible. These were like, the lead tenor is very much, I always think of Oscar Wilde. Yeah. He was very fashionable. He was very witty. Everybody knew he was gay. And here he's going to have his intestines rolled out. Oh, God. You know, and this lasted for hours. and it's horrific.
How barbaric.
Yeah. Apparently, Queen Elizabeth was so disgusted that she got sick and had to leave the room when she was told what had happened. And I just wanted to tell the story of these people who were essentially misled by religious fanaticism.
Okay, Zecca, and
Timely.
Right.
So look, it's called The Scheme, and I've written Act 1, and I'm looking for support to write Act 2 and to mount Act 1 as a workshop or something like that.
That is very
8 singers,
exciting.
8 musicians, so it's cheap to put on.
I love it. It's a bargain. If you want to invest
bargain.
in something, we have a bargain here. I love that you're doing this. You have. I'm so happy to have you on the show. I remember we sat right here, and I'm like, "Well, do you want to come on? If these walls could talk, you'd be so perfect."
May have been the same cushion.
Oh, we were right here in this. On the same cushion,
and we were much more high,
thank you, Suze GX Designs, for saying great show. And I will of course peruse Facebook for other comments for people who tuned in today. I'm not good at like gathering all my comments. I'm not technical, you all know that. I even lost a ring light today, but the show's got to go on.
That's right.
Show's got to go on no matter what. Thank you to everyone who tuned in today. Zecca, you are just as fabulous as the night I met you here. Thank you. Thank you. Really fabulous, talented person. That's what we're all about here. Everybody have a great rest of week. The weather in New York area is supposed to get warmer. For people in Florida that are still in recovery and getting their power back on, please, if you have friends down there, call them, check in on them. We can't minimalize what happened, and we can't say that the White House made the hurricane bad. I know I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing anymore because it's right. And we just got done talking about the insanity during the times of Mary Queen of Scots. And need we say, is history repeating itself? I will just leave it at that. Everybody have a beautiful rest of week. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Ciao. Até logo.